Good morning. I'm Elisa Parker, host of the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. It's the largest festival of its kind, really, in the United States. We're based here in downtown Nevada City, where we really have just about 3,000 people that live here. But during the festival, there are thousands of folks that come together, activists and filmmakers, special guests, really like the everyday person who feels empowered to make a difference, that they know that every single person has the ability to step out and create a positive impact in the world. It's been a tremendous weekend so far. One young woman that is certainly creating ripples in the world is Juliette West. Her film is How I Became an Elephant, and her organization is called Juliette Speaks, and it's just such a pleasure. I love seeing, by the way, young people at the festival who are doing incredible things. You're like the millennial generation that's making things happen. So welcome, Juliette.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a privilege. It's an honor. So this is your first time at the festival?
It is.
What do you think? How would you describe the festival for people who haven't been here before?
The festival is enlightening. I'm learning a lot about the environment and about people who are doing things outdoors. And I think it's a really great way for people who are interested in becoming a part of something, in volunteering, and for activism or anything like that, because there are so many people here doing really creative things that you might really learn something great.
Out of all the festivals that you've been to, what compelled you to come to Wild and Scenic?
Wild and Scenic seemed like it was full of people who are very aware of the world around them, especially the environment and animals. And because I'm trying to promote animal rights, I thought that this would be the perfect place to do it, and there would be a lot of people who really understood where I was coming from.
So you made some good connections so far?
I really have. I've met some really interesting people.
And part of Wild and Scenic is really having that platform for one person to tell their story. Mm-hmm. What do you think the power is of that, of having that platform for sharing your story, and what can happen as a result of that? In your own experience, for example, what you've seen.
Yes, I think doing How I Became an Elephant and doing a film to shed light on the abuse of working elephants in Thailand and elephants working in entertainment was such a great way to spread the word about it, because people can watch the film and come on this journey with me at 14 years old into Thailand and learn alongside me in this film all of these things about how the animals are treated, and really see firsthand what's happening as if they were almost there. And I think that's a great way to get people's emotions going and really get them to understand the issue.
To care about it.
Yes, and also for me, I try to promote youth activism. That's a big part of my nonprofit. And for kids to see the film and see that I did this when I was in 8th grade, I've seen that they really feel empowered to make a difference and become activists themselves. So I think films are a really great way to reach people on a personal level.
So you started this, Juliette, when you were 14 years old. Okay, so the typical 8th grader, I would think, doesn't necessarily do something like this. I mean, tell me how it got started and what inspired you to really take action beyond just, a lot of kids could say, oh, I'll write a paper about it, mm-hmm. or, and it stops there. But you've taken this so much farther.
I have loved animals my entire life, and I learned about a campaign to get an elephant out of the LA Zoo and into a sanctuary. And I really just dove into that activism, started connecting with activists in LA and writing letters, but I didn't stop there. I was really curious, and I was researching more and more about other animals working in entertainment and thinking, what were the other things I didn't know about? And I eventually had the opportunity to do this film, and things really just took off from there. I felt like when I heard about the elephant at the LA Zoo and in what horrible condition he was, because elephants obviously don't belong in zoos, I felt like this was something that everyone needed to know about. If I didn't know about this, and I care so much about animals, everyone should know about this, and I felt like I could do a good job to spread awareness.
Well, and then, and actually it's one reason why it's fabulous to have you here is even in our own community, we have a county fair. Everyone has county fairs where they live. And this year, the board wanted to bring elephants.
Yeah.
And it really divided the community. And what I loved about this film and the work that you're doing is it shed light on elephants in all kinds of realms, right? Elephants that are painting, elephants used for logging, elephants used for entertainment purposes. What would you say to, let's say you're speaking to the board of these county fairs, or folks who are on the board at the zoos who still have elephants for entertainment purposes? What would your message be to them about why this isn't just to treat them this way?
I would say that, first of all, it just doesn't make sense to be keeping the world's largest land mammal in a small enclosure and forcing this animal to go through a lifetime of abuse to be able to be tame around humans. Elephants are such wild animals that they can never be really domesticated in the way that a horse or a dog that you might have in your home could be. They are so wild that they will never really get rid of their wild instincts, so they have to be continually abused for the rest of their life to maintain that fear-based relationship with their trainers and keep the obedience. But also with that in mind, because they never really lose their wild instincts, they are unstable and they're not safe to have around children at a county fair, giving rides, anything like that. They are wild animals and they can snap.
Juliette, what is it that was, to be 14 to start this, now what, are you 18?
Yes.
Okay. So when I watched the film, your parents mentioned that this isn't necessarily something that they even that they practiced, right, as far as their passion, having a passion around elephants. So what is it that you think was instilled in you as a 14-year-old to make you believe that you could actually make a difference and do something about this?
I started to realize as soon as I started to get involved and I was speaking in front of City Council with this group of activists in LA about Billy the elephant at the LA Zoo, that because of my age, I was getting more attention. Because when I go in front of City Council as a 14-year-old, they know I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to get a grant. I'm not trying to get anything passed for myself. I'm just speaking because I love the elephants and I feel strongly about this. And people really responded well to that. So I felt like with my young age, I needed to take advantage of that because I could make a big difference for the cause. So
for other young people who are watching this right now, what would be your message to them about actions and steps that they could take? You know, to like, I'm thinking of some of your biggest takeaways that you've learned, right, in starting this at such a young age, and creating really an incredible impact around this.
I've learned that if you are going to do this as a kid or a youth, you need to you really need to know your subject, because people might doubt you as soon as you get up there, and you really need to know what you're talking about. And also to not be afraid. Don't feel intimidated by being the only kid in the room with a bunch of adults. I've been doing it, and if you have confidence and you really are passionate and you work hard at what you're doing, you can make a really big difference for any cause that you want to be a part of.
And now with Juliette Speaks, you're actually working and inspiring other youth.
I am. I spoke to 800 students on Thursday, students in the area, and I give a presentation about, first I educate the kids about animals working in entertainment, why they shouldn't buy that ticket to the circus, why they shouldn't go to the zoo, and then I talk to them about my experience as an activist and how they can become activists too.
Juliette, can you complete this sentence for me? What empowers me is, and if you could say what empowers me is.
What empowers me is knowledge. I think learning about what was going on with behind the scenes with the elephants at the zoo and the elephants at the circus, and having that knowledge was power for me, and I was able to enlighten a lot of people about it and make them feel a lot better about the choices they were making to help animals.
It was such a pleasure meeting you, and you're such an inspiration both to the youth, but just for all of us. And you've proven that one person can truly make a difference. And if you were to tell everyone out there, like if they're having a fear but they're really passionate about something, what would you tell them to as far as crossing that line?
I would tell them that as soon as you take the first step to be involved in a cause, I think that you will gain the confidence to keep going, and you'll learn that, especially as a young person, you will be able to make a really big difference, and you're probably a lot more powerful than you think.
Juliette West, How I Became an Elephant is the film. What is the organization's website where folks can get more information and get in touch with you?
HowIBecameAnElephant.com.
Okay. And Juliette Speaks?
And JulietteSpeaks.org.
Okay. Thanks so much, Juliette.
Thank you for
It's a pleasure.
having me.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm Elisa Parker. We'll be right back. That was fantastic.